Have you ever really stopped to think about what makes us human? I mean, what truly separates us from every other animal out there? It's not just the big brains, it's not just walking on 2 feet. A really powerful idea suggests the secret ingredient, the real game changer that made us who we are, was cooking. So yeah, let's dive into this, because the theory is that mastering fire didn't just keep us warm, it literally rewired our bodies and kick-started human society itself. So let's start with a question. You hear the phrase natural diet thrown around all the time, right? And for a lot of people, that means eating raw food, just like our primate cousins. I mean, apes seem to do just fine on raw leaves and fruits, so it makes sense that we should be able to too. But here's the thing. The science tells a completely different and frankly a much more interesting story. Okay, look at this number. 50%. In a famous study on people eating a 100% raw food diet, a full 50% of the women stopped menstruating entirely. It's called amenorrhea, and it is a blaring alarm bell from your body that it's in a state of chronic energy starvation. And get this wasn't happening to hunter-gatherers struggling to find food. This was happening to modern people with access to high-quality produce and blenders. They just couldn't get enough energy. So what does that tell us? It tells us that we humans are just awful at surviving on raw food. All the evidence we have, from modern studies to stories of people stranded in the wild, points to the same thing. Humans on raw diets lose a dangerous amount of weight, and our bodies start to shut down. And that presents this huge evolutionary puzzle. If we evolved from apes that ate raw food, why are we so uniquely bad at it? Well, it turns out the answer is literally written into our bodies. Our biology isn't broken or flawed. It was completely redesigned by evolution for a world that had a powerful new tool in it: fire. I mean, just look at the difference. It's night and day. Apes have these huge, powerful jaws, massive teeth for grinding, and a really large gut designed to break down tough, fibrous plants over many, many hours. Now look at us. We have ridiculously small teeth, wimpy jaw muscles, and a gut that's only about 60% of the size it should be for a primate of our build. Our whole digestive system is built for soft, easy-to-process food. So how did that happen? It all comes down to this brilliant idea called the expensive tissue hypothesis. Think of your body as having a strict energy budget. And a big brain? Oh man, that is the most expensive energy-guzzling organ you can possibly have. You can't just get one for free. So evolution made a trade-off. By starting to cook our food, we made it way easier to digest, so we didn't need that huge energy-draining gut anymore. We could shrink it down. And all that energy we saved, it got rerouted to building a bigger, more powerful brain. But how exactly does cooking do that? How does it unlock all this hidden energy? Well, it's not magic. It's actually pretty simple chemistry. Just applying heat to food fundamentally changes its structure, and that makes it way more nutritious for our specific kind of body. Let's just take a simple egg. A landmark study looked at this and found that when you eat an egg raw, your body only digests about 51% of the protein. But just by cooking that exact same egg, digestibility skyrockets to 91%. That's almost double the protein. The heat unravels the protein molecules, it's called denaturation, making it incredibly easy for our enzymes to get to work. And you know, this isn't some newfangled discovery. Way back in 1861, Mrs. Beeton's famous cookbook listed the #1 reason for cooking as, simply, to render mastication easy, to make chewing easier. Cooking's main job is to soften food, which gives our whole digestive system a massive head start. And it's not just about getting more nutrients out of food. It's also about spending less energy digesting it. There was this incredible experiment they did with Burmese pythons. When they fed the snakes cooked and ground meat instead of raw, intact meat, the pythons used 23.4% less energy to digest the meal. That is a massive energy savings. So when you put all these pieces together, the conclusion is pretty stunning. Cooking is essentially a form of pre-digestion. The fire does all the hard work that our guts would otherwise have to do. By softening food and unlocking nutrients before we even take a bite, we basically outsource digestion to the campfire, and we reap the rewards in a huge surplus of energy. And this massive energy boost, it didn't just change our bodies. It completely revolutionized our entire way of life. It changed how we spent our time, how we related to each other, and it laid the very foundations for human society. First off, it gave us the gift of time, a huge amount of it. Our ape relatives spend half their day, we're talking 5, 6, sometimes 8 hours, just chewing tough plants. But because our cooked food is so soft, we spend less than an hour a day chewing. Seriously, just think about that. What would you do with an extra 5 hours every single day? That free time changed everything. So what did we do with all that time? Well, we used it to hunt better, to make more complex tools, to innovate. And the simple need for a central hearth, a fire to cook on, created the idea of a home base, a household. This in turn led to a division of labor, and because cooked food was suddenly this incredibly valuable and stealable resource, it created new social bonds, like pair bonding, to help protect and share it. And this, right here, is the most profound shift of all. Before cooking, eating was something you did on your own. You foraged for yourself, you ate by yourself, but the fire brought us together. It turned the act of eating from a solo mission into a shared communal meal. And in that simple gathering, we see the very beginning of the human family, of community. Which brings us to a final pre-pressing question for today. We evolved over millions of years to thrive on cooked food, but we didn't evolve to eat the hyper-palatable, ultra-processed, incredibly soft foods that make up so much of our diet now. So, if that first culinary revolution sparked the growth of our amazing brains and complex societies, what is this new food revolution doing to us? What are we becoming now? That is definitely some food for thought.